What's going on? I want you guys to look up a individual by the name of John D. Rockefeller. Now, if you guys don't know who John D. Rockefeller is, John D. Rockefeller has one of the largest, wealthiest systematic family that ever existed here in the United Snakes of America. Now, why is this important and why do I want you to go and look up John D. Rockefeller? John D. Rockefeller has pretty much owned every single transportation service, banking system, and any of those things that you could think of. I mean, the family is just connected to the Rothschilds. Why I say this is important is because the way America is has a lot to do with the framing and mindset of John D. Rockefeller's outlook. So when you have that type of level of control, and you can buy this, you can buy this politician, you can buy this this person here. They work underneath you as a representation behind the scenes. So John D. Rockefeller not only controlled and owned the largest transportation systems between railroads upwards to today, but he also controlled the school system. Let me say that again. John D. Rockefeller also controlled the school system. So what happens is when you control the school system, you're able to control what you're able to teach. What you're able to teach is exactly what you want. So if you go to John D. Rockefeller and you look up one of his quotes, I'm not going to say it verbatim, but his quote explains that if you are an average class working person, you must be okay with living a modest lifestyle. Why is that? Because as you're living that modest lifestyle, you have to be okay with knowing that your life was only meant to work in order to live. Let me say that again. He said, your life is only meant to work in order for you to live. Your life was meant for you to work in order for you to live. That's the mindset of a John D. Rockefeller. That's the mindset of the Rothschilds. That's the mindset of every single president that you've ever laid eyes on. That's the mindset of what they have today. Ain't shit changed. Now you're probably wondering, like, what point am I making? The point is that if America was structured for the average person to think that the only purpose that they have in life is to work a job in order to live, is the reason why people can never find their greater purpose. They can never get outside the box. They can never think outside the box. They have this one narrow way of thinking, and if they ever get outside of that box, they become this grifter, or this what you call this delinquent. People look at you funny because you're not following the inbox system. But can you really be mad at the people that look down upon people that do understand the bigger picture? Because that's the way that they were taught. Systematically, that's the way the school system was designed to be. It was to, when you get into the school system, you were supposed to sit down, you were supposed to raise your hand, you were supposed to ask for permission. you're supposed to stay on the topic in which the teacher is talking about, because the the imagination that you have and the theories that you have and the ideas that you have, it doesn't matter, because the whatever the lesson is being taught, that's the only thing that matters. And not only that, is that also when it's time to do a test or a quiz, and you so happen to get a D or a fail, then you begin to become feeling like a failure. When in actuality, your theories or your ideas may have essentially been great. But because of the lesson that was taught and you weren't locked into that lesson, then you received a D and an F. So all of this stems up to understanding that you've been under a systematic depression. And it started so long ago. America is 250 years old, up to date, if you do the research. And we're still living under the same terrible teachings from a terrible teacher and a terrible person, if you had to ask me. Why, if you wanted the society in which you call yourself a builder or a foundational individual, why would you want your society to think so dirt level, so ground level, such a disgusting way of being a human being, that your life is only worth what you're able to contribute to a job, to a corporation? Because that's what he said. Quote unquote, that's what he said. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Just because you may have, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, does not give you the right to tell somebody what their life worth is in order to become something here in this place. As you can see, we're all struggling here in a resemblance of such a bad teaching, because no one believes that they can think outside of the government. No one believes that they don't have to depend on the government. Everybody's so dependable in the reference of such a quote, such a mindset. Now, some of you guys are probably saying that, well, how can I blame everything on John D. Rockefeller? And once again, you're missing my point. It's because those that do the teaching and the ones that are receiving on the other end have no other choice but to follow where the money goes. Isn't that what America does now? Everybody follows where the money goes. Wherever the money goes, the person follows. That's what they call chasing the bag. Let me say that again. That's what they call chasing the bag. So that's what everybody did. They said if this guy had all of this money, he's a billionaire. What we're going to do is we're going to listen to the foundations of his teachings. We're going to build these schools in all these different states in America. And we're going to teach them that they only need to do two things. Be accepted, accept that you must have a modest living, and only understand that your life is only worth what you're able to put in when it comes to a job. That's exactly what we've done. That's exactly why most people cannot get out of this matrix. Because when you listen to demonic people, you begin to accept the demonic results. because someone like that can tell you to do that. But look at his family. Go look up his family. And his lineage doesn't stop with the Rockefellers. You got the Rothschilds, right? You know, they all came from the Medicis. The Medicis owned the entire banking system that came out of Italy into so-called what you call America. Go look at their families. Why don't you ask them? Why don't you ask them, how does it feel right now to be struggling? They're not going to have an answer for you because they don't fucking struggle. They're not going to have an answer for you because they don't fucking struggle. So I don't believe that America was supposed to be this way. But when you have all of these terrible teachings in place and you don't teach the people nothing, you teach them that they're dirt, that they're low level, low class, don't have any ideas, listen to me, I know the way, and that's it. What the fuck you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? People are gonna become dependable. They're gonna depend on something. And that's where you got the government. Everybody depends on the government. And they don't know shit. Because if they knew something, we wouldn't be $38 trillion in debt. Let me say that again. If they knew something, we wouldn't be $38 trillion in debt. So, after this video, guys, go look up John D. Rockefeller. Do the research on him. Do the research on his family. Because these are guys that's not just with money. They've always had agendas. They've always had direction. They've always had a systematic approach on how to control you. And it's still doing it today. With that being said, guys, appreciate you guys taking a look at this video. My name is St. Nicholas Brand. Till next time. Peace.